Hey y'all, welcome to Mo Boombox, and this is your girl BadGuyKenn with another interview with Miss Courtney Haywood. Courtney Haywood is a creator of Cultivated by Urbanity, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. A beauty and self-care line that produces vegan-free products for women of color. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. That's how I like to see you. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How's everything with you? I mean, I'm excited because it's the fall weather. I'm like real big on like fall weather, fall colors. We got the black on, so you already know. Like it's definitely
Planned this.
no, we did not. We did not. But I'm just really excited because like the weather is starting to become more like fall. We're getting out like summer. I know a lot of people love summer, but I definitely am a big fall person. Like the oranges, the browns, all that stuff in regards to color is like my major thing when it comes to fall. So I'm excited. So I'm like excited. I'm happy it's fall.
I love when the leaves start turning colors.
Yes.
October. October is my favorite month. Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Okay.
Consider a holiday. So I love the fall weather. I've been waiting for this. Okay.
Yes.
About to order me a new Nike Tech for this weather because the weather.
Yes.
The weather's it's like that. Okay.
Yes. They were like, lights off.
Okay, thank you. Summer go by. Summer was like, I gotta go.
Right. Ready to pick up their stuff and bounce.
I would too if I was her. This dang pandemic just blocked everything she had planned for us, to be honest.
Yes, it sure did.
It stole her shine. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into it. You're a curator of a skincare line cultivated by Urbanity. And you did this because when using other products, you found that they didn't really have the right products and then the right ingredients in them to like help women of color skin, correct?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
So for me, and this is just me having a transparent moment, I had eczema. So I got eczema when I was in college. That's when it kind of like flared out of control. And I never would forget. It was homecoming weekend, and y'all know, like at a HBCU homecoming weekend, like everybody, that's your time to step out. If you've been broke all semester, you go step out in your finest. So for me, I had an outbreak. So I had eczema on my face, eczema on my arms. Like, it was everywhere, and I just couldn't understand why. What was the issue? And I was using like other products and stuff like that, but it was just more so the fragrance that was added to it, the amount of like, it wasn't enough like coconut oil, it wasn't enough like aloe added to it. So I was just more so looking for products, like bouncing in between products left and right. And I was like, oh, everybody sees the girly cutie products, and I have to use like, the sensitive for skin. and it was just like when you see products that have that sparkly image to it, and then you see like when you got to go over to sensitive for skin products, and it's just like, it's just dull, like completely like dry. You're like, wait a minute, like, okay, that's not going to look cute on my dresser. But however, I had to use it. So what I did was started researching different products. What can I do to create my own products and still maintain my skin and not still flare up? Because it's times when you do have eczema where it's extremely hot and you're like, wait a minute, like I'm starting to itch everywhere. Like, this is crazy.
And flakes.
Right. Yes. And then it's those moments where it's just like, okay, it's extremely cool, but now it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable. Like you're trying not to be somewhere and, like scratching and everything. What's wrong with her? So it was just more so looking for those products that were able to enhance my skin. Also making sure that my skin wasn't oily, because my skin type is dry, but also at times it can be a little bit oily. So
we're the same person. I say this because it's just so crazy that you said that. My first eczema outbreak was in college, a week or two before homecoming.
Oh God.
I kid you. But I had a particular type of eczema. It only happened like right here under my eye.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but it was like the shape of a coin.
Yes.
It was named after that, and it was just in this spot. So everyone's like, "Did you get into a fight? Did you get punched in the eye?" I'm like,
right.
You didn't hear like.
No, we're here.
The fight before, because this is not what a bruise looks like. It's clearly ashy, everyone. It's ashy. Okay, this is eczema. So it's just so crazy that you said that the same thing happened to you, and I go through the same thing. It's like, I have oil. I produce a lot of oils, but my skin, if I go without putting product on there, my skin dries up like that. And my first time actually going to an esthetician was like 2-3 weeks ago, and she told me, she was like, because I was always confused, I didn't know what product to use, because I'm a mixture of both. So I think she told me I was oily on the outside and I had dryness on the inside. So I mean, it's just crazy.
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, it can be a struggle, and then I'm going through that, and then you're in college, you know, so you're like, dag, like, for me, it was like a wake up call, because it's like, I never went through it all the way until I got to college. So it was just like finding, well, what was the outbreak? What was the reason? They're telling me I know so many skin tests that were done. It was like ridiculous. They're like, oh, you're allergic to this. You're allergic to that. We can't make sure that there's nickel anywhere, because
like with belts and stuff, like on my like when I was in high school, I used to have like a breakout right there, so I couldn't wear certain belts and I couldn't wear certain.
Me too.
Yeah. Hi, older sister. Like, what's up? Hi.
But yeah, so that's why I decided to just make the products, because I was like, my thing is, especially even for like my lip gloss, I was like, everything has to be vegan based, because if I have byproducts in it, and let's say I know people who have eczema, and they could just break out on their lips because of the skin, and their skin could be peeling. So I didn't want to have like people investing into my product, or more so like, okay, I'm gonna get it because it's cute and it has the tubing and, you know, all these other fun things, and then it just one swipe and it's like, okay, now I'm like sitting here biting my lips, or my lips are turning red or whatever. So I wanted to make sure those things that were missing from products that say that they are sensitive are actually in the products that I made.
That makes sense. I like that. So since we're on the topic of product, what was the first product you made? Like, what do you think was like, I gotta make this first if I'm gonna do this brand, if I'm gonna do this business?
My first one was my nude lip gloss. So it's called Vanilla Queen too. So there was an original version. The original version had no flavor to it. It was just like, okay, sis, we're brown and we're cute, but I need
we're making a statement. That's all.
Right. We're just making a statement. That's it. But I needed to add a little bit more flavor. So now Vanilla Queen 2 has peach, and it also comes in a strawberry flavor. So it's like, that was my first thing, because every girl loves a nude. I mean, whether you're brown, whether you're tan, everybody loves a good nude.
Perfect nude. It's hard to find that.
And I actually have it on right now. So thank you. So that was
this. When did you launch this business?
So it was, okay, so initially, so this is crazy, and I tell people like the story about this all the time. So I was literally teaching my classes. I'm like, I enjoy teaching, but I always had a passion for like just beauty and knowing like the knack for just different things. And so I was sitting here, and during the pandemic, you know how we were bored, and this is before they was letting us go out a little tad bit, you know. So I was just like, all right, let me just research how to create skincare and beauty products. Like,
let's see if I can do it during this pandemic.
So I was like, let me play around. And then I started looking at other brands that were small businesses as well. And I was like, okay, they have the blueprint. They're dropping off the tools. They're explaining every single thing to me. But I was like, okay, how can I make this different? Because I mean, you go on Instagram, I mean, I'm not gonna kid you, it's 1,001 lip gloss, skincare, whatever. And I was like, well, what is going to make mine different from everybody else's? Because I mean, when you look across the board, everybody has pretty much the same colors, the same pigments, you know. I don't necessarily do wholesale. Maybe that's something I was happy to the future. But for me, my thing was I wanted to strictly stick to just the HBCU vibe and focus, because I mean, for me, that was where I got my definition of who I am as a woman today. So I knew I had to find a way to give back. And it's like, you know, I give back as a professor at one. It's just like giving back in a different way, where I could kind of drop off the gems to different HBCUs would be great. So that's why I was like, I have to find some way to kind of keep it focused within just multicultural women, but especially young African-American women at HBCUs. And right now we're just starting off, but the end goal is to have a subscription box at each HBCU across the nation, where women can go inside the bookstore, because I know everybody gets their little flex dollars. You go right to the bookstore. Listen, I know good flex.
Refunds on the next semester. That's what we're talking about, okay?
Yes. And so the goal is to go to like your local HBCU bookstore, have the subscription boxes there. Family members can send out subscription boxes, all of that jazz there. But you can go ahead and just get your products right then and there using your flex dollars, whatever it may be. And then a portion of that would go back to the school, whoever has the setup and things of that nature. So right now we're just starting out. So yeah.
That's great, because you did this in the middle of a pandemic. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of tough because you figure trying to put all the ingredients together, getting ingredients, getting shipping from like different companies and things of that nature. And some companies were in California. So I'm based out of Delaware. So pretty much I had to wait until they opened all the way or half of the way for them to say, okay, we're going to send the remainder of this and we're going to send that. So even though I fully launched on March 8th, the thing was I wasn't fully launched. So I was like doing like a soft launch. I was like, okay, I'm here. Learn about me. Hey, like, products aren't there yet, but hey. So it was just kind of pulling everything from every different place. Actually taking a bet on myself, you know, because financially I was like, okay, do I really like, you know, like it's like that Dave Chappelle. No, seriously, it was really like that Dave Chappelle meme where he's like sitting there with all the money and he's like, oh, and the crown. That was me. That was me like, yo, do I take this bet on myself? Like, and I literally sat there, I toyed back and forth, and I was like, you know what? Boom. I'm going to take the bet on myself and see what happens. And it was crazy because I had just posted on IG. I literally had to start off, I had literally 5 products. And it was crazy because I pulled from different like vendors and stuff like that. And the goal was that and the unique thing about the brand was that all of my vendors and wholesalers, they all had to be women and they all had to be multicultural. Like I was not pulling from any of the huger brands or any from like people that were not necessarily women of color or multicultural women, because I'm like, I can't, if they're saying, oh, well, it's sensitive and, oh, well, you know, the Versagel that we have is the best. And then I get it. And then it's not working for me.
Like and, sensitive, not sensitive to y'all.
Right.
That makes sense. That's good.
So it was just like doing all that research there. And then actually for me, it was sowing a seed into another female entrepreneur as well. So it was not just saying, okay, I'm going to establish it for myself, but here I am sowing another seed into another female entrepreneur that is a wholesaler. So that's how I kind of got everything together. And then I was like, all right, now I got to kind of figure out how I'm going to man all of this. But launching it during the pandemic, it was financially like, whoa. Like, am I going to get this return? And with any business, you're always wondering, am I going to get this return I'm about to put out? And literally the day that I launched, I didn't even fully launch. I had 5 products. Kid you not. Like 5 products up there. And it was like one of one. Literally one of one.
Like if you I was like, you're going to be the first one to have this in
right.
at this moment.
Right. At this moment. And it was crazy because I had just put, hey, you know, just follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and check out the website. We're not fully launched yet, but it's just a soft launch. And the crazy thing is, I did not do the back end, and this is like learning one-on-one. I did not do the back end and close my store. So because it wasn't full launch date. So what happened was, one of my line sisters, she ended up buying stuff. And I'm like, I'm asleep. And all I hear is like, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I'm like, what is this? Like, and lo and behold, she bought stuff. So I was like, okay, God, if this is your sign of telling me to just go ahead and make it do what it do with what I got, then I'm going to do what it do. So that's when I just went ahead and she purchased her product on that Wednesday. And then that Friday, I was like, oh, I'm in full launch mode because whatever I have, whatever I can get my hand to, I'm just going to go ahead and push out. So it was kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. Literally everything was word of mouth. It was literally, I had a goal and I launched in the middle of the month. So for me, it was just like, okay, I need to sell 1,000. I kept on saying to myself, sell $1,000 at the end of the month, sell 1,000 at the end of the month, because I knew that 10%, I kept on telling everybody, 10% of everything that you buy goes to HBCU. And I was like, I am not having this first donation. Like, $10.
Right.
You know, like,
I didn't make anything, but now the HBCU has something.
Right. And so it was just like, okay, I got to push it out. And lo and behold, within that first month, I made $2,000. So, and that's not even in the full month. That was like 3 weeks. And I was straight, no Instagram. Like, I literally had a dry Instagram. It was literally like, okay, here's my logo. Here's like one product.
Followers.
Right. Like, it was literally like, okay, my friends, and that was it. Like, so I literally was reaching out to every person I knew. Like, I was like, let somebody know. Like, just, you know, come and support. And I was like, I even reached out to my line sisters. I was like, okay, it's 45 of y'all that everybody could buy something.
Okay, so you can get that money out real quick.
Right. So, and then even with family and just like friends, I mean, it was to the point I was reaching out to my students. I'm like, oh, hey, like, can you buy this? Right.
Okay.
They wouldn't get extra credit though. No, like Professor Haywood and Courtney Haywood is two different. I tell that all the time. Two different people. But no. So that's how I really got my brand out there. Just letting people know what it was about, and it wasn't necessarily because for me it was like I don't care how much money I make because my price point is so like it's not high, but it's also not like cheap, but at the same time it's cost effective. So it's not, for me, it's like I want it to be feasible enough for a college student to purchase, but for also the everyday working woman, also for the single mom, also for whoever needs to purchase beauty products, and then not say, okay, I now have to prioritize when I have to buy something because it's breaking the bank. You know, so I wanted to make sure that it was price friendly and the price point was right. And I know people joke with me all the time, you're always having a sale. And I'm like, yeah, it's not about me. You know, I just want to make sure that I'm giving that money back to the HBCUs. And even though sometimes it's like, okay, the deposit or whatever the case may be, the money that I'm sewing into the HBCU may be cheap. I'll be like, okay, just to get a long haul, you know? And sometimes I'll even go over the amount that I'm supposed to send just because of the sheer fact of like, okay, I'm not just going to send a school $50. Like that's not, what can $50 really do for a student, you know? So I'll do more than that just so that it could help that student out financially or help the university out financially.
That's beautiful. So I see you mentioned HBCUs a lot. So what HBCU did you attend, and then which one do you work at?
Okay, so I attended Norfolk State University. So Spartan, yes.
Green and gold. Hello.
Yes, the green and gold. You know I got on the gold earrings.
That is so crazy.
Wait, you went to?
Yeah, I'm a master who graduated from AC.
Yes, high five.
Yes, it was meant for this interview.
Yes.
That is so crazy.
So sad homecoming is not popping this year, but that's because you know our homecoming be like.
Okay, thank you. Look, not your typical homecoming.
Listen. Last year, oh man, that was it. I was like so glad. The sidebar, I was like so glad I went to homecoming last year because now knowing that we're not going to be able to have one or we're having a virtual one, right. It's just like, man, just to be around everybody and just to you haven't seen people in so long. You're like, yo, what's up? And they remember you and just the vibe, you know. Exactly. So, but that's just listen, y'all. If y'all don't know about Norfolk State, Google us. Like,
okay, y'all should, especially when everybody be at our homecomings anyway. If
yes,
what they're gonna come to our homecomings.
Yes,
another HBCU, PWI, multicultural.
Yes,
in Okay, that's just that. So what HBCU do you work at now?
So I work at the first degree granting HBCU, which is Lincoln University of PA.
Okay.
So yeah, so I teach in the mass communications department. Yeah. So I teach public relations, marketing, strategic communications, all of that stuff. So I'm on the strategic comm side of life. So that's why it's like two different sides of me. I tell people all the time. It's Courtney Haywood, that's whole nother speed, and it's Professor Haywood, like that's more refined. Like so
okay. So since I saw that you like you said, you're giving back 10% and whatnot to HBCUs, and you also just have a HBCU collection, correct? Highlighting 30 HBCUs.
yes. So we actually, so originally our original date was supposed to be in August, and I kept on toying back with that. I was just like, okay, do I want to do August? Do I want to wait till homecoming? So I was like literally waiting because I was like, okay, what if homecoming happens? Like it's always like
okay,
that.
Just
that what if?
Don't come with boxes. Okay, here we have
right.
Urbanity.
Right. So I was like, okay, let me just wait to see if homecoming is gonna happen or not or whatever. So something kept on telling me, and I always listen to my inner gut, and something was just like, girl, wait till homecoming weekend and then launch your HBCU line, because once I started seeing like universities were pulling out of like homecoming, like, no, it's not happening. No. And it was like one by one. I was just like, okay, I have to push this back. And so our date, we're actually going to be having a week long, it's literally going to be treated like a HBCU homecoming, with the grand launch on the 24th of October. So pretty much we're going to have like, just like how regular homecoming is, we're going to have like a little talent show. We're going to have people to come in and talk about beauty. We're going to have poetry. I mean, it's going to be a whole lineup of different things that are going on. Yes. Because I mean, right now we don't necessarily have homecoming. So it's like, I mean, you got to add spice to it somewhere. But everything starts on October the 19th. So that's not necessarily the launch date. The launch date is October the 24th. So it's just getting everything geared up to that point. And a lot of the schools, a lot of people don't realize that a number of HBCUs, we all kind of share the same colors. I actually found that out when creating some of the colors. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Like,
I know red, blue, and white.
Right. Red, blue, and white is the traditional. Blue and white. Right. It's like orange. It's like green.
Say Morgan got orange and blue.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of yellow. Oh, well, FAMU.
Right. They're green and orange. Yeah. We're green and gold. So it's like,
yellow and black.
Yes. And then I know there's a lot of burgundies.
Definitely.
So it's just kind of making sure that everything that I had created was going to be used multiple times. Right. So right now we're just still kind of ironing out the full names, because what we don't want to do is just do, because of copyright infringement and things of that nature, what we don't want to do is say, okay, well, we're coming out with this lip gloss that is for all the women at Spelman. Like, you know, and then you're like,
ma'am.
Right. And then you're like, oh, okay, but that's the same color as me, and I went to Hampton. Like, so it's just literally coming up with those names, and then just going to be inspired by the women of Spelman, inspired by the women of Hampton University. So things of that nature. And then each, for every single color that is created in the line, 10% of that will go directly to the university, or more so a student. So we're kind of fishing through different students to see, okay, you know, would you be great for this scholarship? Because like during the holidays and things of that nature, students need money for books. Students are going to need money, you know, just to help their household, especially during this time. So it's just like making sure that overall that, because a lot of HBCUs now we're getting money. So, you know, we're now becoming, we should have been popular before, but we're now becoming popular.
It's so crazy that you said that, because I love that you're doing 30 of them, because when you see people donating, they don't donate to more than the same.
Yes.
And that's good that you're hitting different HBCUs, because all people donate to is Howard,
the Mecca,
Right? Maybe a little FAMU.
Right.
And that's all. But there's we have like what, over, is it 100?
It's 107.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HBCUs. So that's really great that you're at least touching 30, because that's way more than most people touch.
Yeah. And I mean, that was my goal. I didn't just want to kind of stay, just kind of like, okay, we're just going to do these 5, or we're just going to do these few here. And then a lot of times when donations are being received, they don't necessarily hit those initial HBCUs like Lincoln, like Cheney. Those are those HBCUs that if it wasn't for those 2 universities, we would not have a Norfolk State. We wouldn't have a Howard. We wouldn't have a Hampton. We wouldn't have a Morehouse. So if it wasn't for those 2 kind of hitting the ground, then we wouldn't have those foundations. So I was like, okay, we have to have some way to recognize these universities. Exactly. To find a way to recognize these universities.
Like the founding fathers of HBCUs.
Right. So that's why I was like, all right, we gotta highlight those. And those are 2 of the HBCUs that are going to be highlighted, but also there are other HBCUs that are going to be highlighted as well. That's Spelman, of course, not like, couldn't forget home. Home is
the home.
Home is home, so I couldn't forget home. So Norfolk State, FAMU, Howard, of course, Southern, a number of different universities are going to be highlighted through that. So, I mean, it's going to be amazing. It's definitely going to be amazing.
I love this. Okay, so.
Sorry, my 4-year-old I have a 4-year-old. So this is him entering into being in my personal business. So look, he's rolling on the floor.
And the hall be like, hey, I'm not doing an interview.
Sorry.
And whatnot, you're fine. Look. The 4-year-old has something to say. They got something to say. Okay, yes. Maybe they got a little message and whatnot.
So there.
Hi.
Say hi, Landon. Hi. All right, go ahead. He wanted to be nosy.
So is there any message that you have to like any young female who's a future entrepreneur, or something you would tell little young Courtney and stuff that you're learning now with being an entrepreneur, going to HBCU, and also being a teacher?
I think for me is, don't let your current situation be your ceiling. A lot of times we'll sit somewhere and we'll be like, okay, I'm comfortable. I'm okay with where I'm at. And the reality is that you're on this earth for X amount of time. You don't even know when our expiration date is. So if we're giving ourselves a ceiling at 24, at 30, at 40 even, I mean, we're limiting ourselves in the potential opportunities that we may have. So I would recommend not necessarily, giving ourselves that ceiling or not necessarily giving ourselves that ceiling, but more so like giving ourselves the opportunity to say, there's a chance for us to do better. He's so nosy. I'm sorry.
Aren't you proud of your mommy? She's doing such great things.
Oh, sorry. He's like trying to squeeze.
He's like, I'm just here, okay?
Right. He's just like trying to be here.
So, word on the street is you have something for our followers?
Yes, I do. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Just a couple of things. I have some of my products here. One thing I do want to give, 2 things. So there is a coupon code that's going to be available for all of your followers from the end of, from today all the way to the end of October. So you guys will get a chance to be able to get some products from the HBCU collection as well as test out some new products or some current products that we have right now. So that will be 30% off for all of your followers. Everybody that listens, that's automatic 30% off. And the dope thing about us, which a lot of reason why people like to shop with us, is we are no minimum free shipping. So that's a big,
say it again, is what?
No minimum free shipping, and it's $365. So you could come tomorrow, next week, next year, we'll still be no minimum free shipping. So I mean, that's the dope thing about us. And the reason why I chose to even do that was because, I mean, what if you're in college? You're like, everybody gets turned off by shipping. Like, you get there, you're like, okay, my card is full, $5. No, ma'am, let me pull something out my card.
Okay, thank you. I was like, I got trade some out. I got trade.
Right. So, I mean, that's one of the things. And then two, what I also wanted to do is give out 2 gift bags and just like to any subscribers that you guys pick. And I want to give them a gift product of our gold glow facial wash. So you kind of shake it up. I'm not sure if you can see, but it is like a gold tint.
Yeah, I can see it.
As well. And then it's our skincare system. So it's Urbanity skincare system. And then it's also like just the dewdrops that come together as well. So it's a set. And then also, as you can see, everything is kind of like golden. Also, I have a lot of rose infused products because that just helps with like more so like mental health and peace and things of that nature. So they'll be getting that. And then also they'll get a scrubber with it. And also one of these little cute headbands that comes with our that comes with our little giveaway set. And then just lip oil. So literally everything that is used at night. So our nighttime set. Lip oil and rose water. So all of that stuff there. And then also just some lip gloss. So right now we have our little butterfly situations. And then we also have our Manila Queen. So that is definitely going to be in there. And every time we ship everything out, we always put, I'm just like a big component on this. We always put these stickers in here. Cute for like laptops. I'm just remembering, just like, so cute. It's just letting us know, that we're beautiful. And it's just a daily reminder, that necessarily, hey, you can come and shop with me all day, but this is just an affirmation to let you know that no matter what shade you are, no matter how big you are, how small you are, whatever, you are still a queen and you're still beautiful. So those things are added in there as well for your guests and everything.
Thank you for this, Courtney. This was a great interview. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to shout out your Instagram, business Instagram, and the website?
Sure. So it is Cultivated by Urbanity. That's too long to spell. But it's cultivated by urbanity.com.
In the video.
Yeah, it's cultivated by urbanity.com. We're the only one that's cultivated by urbanity.com. Our IG is at cultivated by urbanity. So it's everything for IG, Twitter, Facebook. We're all the same. My personal IG is Professor Haywood. That's how everybody knows me as. That's my separate self. But that's my personal IG. And definitely, I think my last shout out would be just to all of the HBCU students, all the HBCU entrepreneurs, all of everyone who's just focused through this pandemic and just getting themselves together on the right track. That's who my shout out would be to.
Oh, I love it. And there you have it, folks. Your girl, BadGuyKenn, with another interview for Mo Boom Box. So, toodles.